Put that lower.
Okay, folks. Sorry, the first thing you see will be my face. I was just making sure that we were going. So we are now broadcasting live, and the first person you speak to will be Lucy. Right, we are live.
Hello. I'd like to welcome you all on behalf of the family to this celebration of the life of a remarkable and wonderful woman, Fay Fullerton, known to us variously as Fay, Mum, Granny Fay, Auntie Fay, and Ga. Thank you so much for coming to join us in remembering and celebrating our dear Mum Fay. A special welcome goes to those watching from afar today. I'm going to pass you over now to Mandy, who's going to give us a shortened version of A Long Life, Well Lived. Before doing so, could I perhaps remind people to put their phones on silent? Thank you.
And also, up and down, if you know what I mean. Unless you could lower it. Lower it so that it's not in front of my face. Yeah. Hello. No, I can't.
Be close to the microphone.
Well, it needs to go further down. That's it. That's it. Hello. Our darling mum, Fay, was born in Portsmouth on the 29th of January 1930. The first and much longed for child of Reg and Meg Rogers. She was named after two of her aunts, but always known as Fay because, as they said, nobody could call such a wee scrap by that mouthful. This was fine by her, as she never liked her full name anyway, and would always insist on Fay. 4 years later, and after a move to Rosyth, her younger sister Margaret completed the family, and the four were devoted to each other. Fay attended Dunfermline High School and then Edinburgh School of Art, where she met Leslie, and through her, Barbara, who were to remain close and treasured friends for the rest of their lives. It was in Edinburgh too that she met her first husband, Jimmy Barton, then a young medical student. They married and, living then near Edinburgh, were so very soon joined by Paul and the following year by Steve. After a move to Cumbria, Mandy was born, and then near Bristol, Jane. In 1959, the young family set off on a great adventure to Ibadan in Nigeria, where Fay loved the colour and music of the local people. She particularly loved the high life music that was so popular then, and to the amazement and admiration of the locals, quickly picked up the particular style of dancing associated with it. Over 50 years later, in 2014, during one of many dinners around her cherished dining table at Shannaburn, she was to regale us with a snatch of a song she remembered loving from that time, Nylon Dress. And thanks to the wonders of the internet, Jim was able to find and play that song there and then. As soon as she heard the music, she was up, dancing in her place. It was a joyous moment. In Nigeria, Fay found expression for her creativity in designing and painting sets and making costumes for the many shows that Jimmy both produced and acted in, and in designing and creating amazing fancy dress costumes for us children. Once, she dressed us up as mosquitoes, much to the amusement of the onlookers. Sadly, the marriage foundered, and she returned to her parents in Scotland with Mandy and Jane. By this time, Steve and Paul were at boarding school in England, returning to Africa for the long summer holidays. At first, Fay found work teaching art in Oakley in Fife, then moved to Aberdeen to join her future husband, Bill Fullerton. It was here that she saw an advertisement for a house for sale on Deeside. Bill being unable to get away, she took the bus out alone into the country to view Shannaburn Cottage, as it was called. And the rest is history. Of course, it wasn't the beautiful home that you see now, but she had a vision of how it could be, how it now is. And with her artistic flair and a lot of hard work by both, they soon had a lovely home for themselves, Mandy, Jane, and Bill's son, Alec. Paul, Steve, and Bill's daughters, Ilona and Anya, were not able to come to live there with them, but remained a cherished part of the family, visiting regularly. Bill and Fay Fullerton played a full part in the life of their adopted city. He, fully committed to his work in the Aberdeen Royal Infirmary, and later also his private practice, and she supporting him in this, as well as becoming involved in many charitable and philanthropic activities of her own. They made many friends with whom they were able to share their love of music, art, and fine dining, as well as to engage in many lively, often political discussions. Fay was a keen and highly skilled cook, and countless dinner parties with music, dancing, and talk were enjoyed in this house over the years. At one point, Fay kept a dinner party diary, which contains the delightful comment on one event, "Nobody left till 3 a.m. George and Maggie, you were there. Fay was a skilled and sensitive portrait painter, and many of her friends possess paintings done by her. Her painting of me has pride of place in her sitting room, next to the photograph of another portrait done of the daughter of friends. But most of these paintings now reside with the families of their subjects. Lucky them. This she continued for many years. In 1967, Lucy completed the family. The annual Arts Centre Ball, operas at Haddo House, visits to HM Theatre, all were enjoyed over the years, and often family picnics up to the Forest of Birse, Forvey Sands, St. Cyrus, Dunot. Many a long trek was made, with Dad up ahead repeating, "Nearly there, just over the brow of this next hill." It never was. Christmas at Shannaburn was a highlight of the year. Mum loved Christmas and went out of her way to create magical memories. She particularly adored a real Christmas tree, and the tree was the heart of our home at Christmas time. That and the fireplace with its hearth, built by Dad in 1962, just until we get something permanent sorted, where we used to sit for hours. It's here that we used to hang up Dad's kilt socks, and these were stuffed with all sorts of wee necessities and treasures, each one wrapped by Santa, of course. On one memorable occasion, when Paul and Steve, with their partners, and Paul's baby Fay were here, Santa had 13 stockings to fill. She particularly loved the snowdrop season, when the lawn and the bank of Shannaburn were covered with these harbingers of spring. She made a point of picking a bunch, always set off with a ring of ivy leaves to give to any visitor, and she took a posy with her whenever she was making a visit at snowdrop time. On one memorable occasion, when she was close to 80, she was picking a bunch to take to a friend in a nursing home when she overbalanced and rolled down the bank. She came to a halt, mercifully short of the burn itself, and lay there looking up at the sky, thinking, "Come on, Fay, you have to get yourself back up that bank somehow, because nobody knows you're here." Our indomitable mother made it, and she never let go of her bunch of snowdrops. Of course, it wasn't all play, and Fay and Bill took part in other activities. They took us kids to a CND protest march in Aberdeen along Union Street in the early 60s. They were both very politically aware and passionately opposed to injustice, campaigning against cruelty to humans and animals. They played an active part in the local Liberal Party, campaigning and canvassing at election times. They supported the homeless charity shelter, at one point throwing a huge party to raise funds. Fay took part in many street collections for charities such as Animal Aid and ran stalls at their annual sales. Long before Fay gave up eating meat, they were fierce opponents of the cruelty involved in intensive farming and slaughterhouses. They both played an active role also in campaigning for Amnesty International in support of prisoners of conscience worldwide. Bill often invited members of the faculty, many of them young doctors far from home, to enjoy one of Fay's famous dinners, and several of these became lifelong friends. For years, Fay volunteered with the Chest, Heart and Stroke Association, teaching art as therapy for recovering patients. She also supported local families in need through a befriending scheme run by the social work department. Bill and Fay more than once opened their home to a young person going through difficulties and in need of a supportive environment. It's safe to say that if anyone needed help that they could provide, then they were happy and ready to do so, as several people here can attest. Their beloved Shannaburn cottage was the backdrop to all this and more. When the older ones had left home and Lucy was at school, Mum decided to return to the classroom. And after qualifying at Hilton, where she met May Miller, another who was to remain a friend for life, she began a new career at Bankery Academy, where her passion for creativity and her talent for engaging people stood her in good stead. Mum always adored her garden, a little more than a wilderness of weeds when she took it over, and gradually created the lovely haven that you see around you. Dad built the rockery and the little wall that you see enclosing the land, although he had to move it back. At one time it ran much closer to the house, and Mum had designs on the rough ground directly beyond. Friends donated plants, all of which were lovingly tended and weeded as long as she was able. Even after she was no longer able. It was her great joy to relax in, sorry, I missed a bit. Even after she was no longer able. No walk in the garden was complete without, "Could you just get that weed, dear?" It was her great joy to relax in the garden with her books, her paper, and her cats. And all summer long, whenever it was fine, you would find her here. It was here that she used for many years to hold her Compassion in World farming dinners, garden parties in August, combining fundraising with her renowned culinary skills and flair for hospitality, and making good use of the beautiful garden that she had created. Despite being always so busy, She always found time to care for her family, celebrating our successes and giving love and support to us all when life was unkind, always accompanied by wise advice. She adored her grandchildren and was so proud of each one, and loved to hear about the great grandchildren when they arrived. She lovingly cherished her adored parents in their old age, travelling up and down to Rosyth countless times during their last years. In November 1999, we lost our beloved father, Bill, and Mum lost her darling mate. In the 25 years since then, though her health began to fail, especially latterly, she never lost her sparkle and compassion, still greeting visitors graciously and enjoying conversing with them, conversing with a sincere interest on a wide range of subjects. She remained close to her adored sister, Margaret, until Margaret's untimely death in 2018, attending her 80th birthday party and visiting her as often as she could in hospital in her last illness. She was very contented in her last years, remaining at home in the surroundings of her beloved Shannaburn with her books, her puzzles, and her favourite TV programmes, particularly quizzes, and Poirot, Columbo, and Foyle's War, the last three of which she could happily watch on repeat. Always she was kept company by her precious cats, latterly Rosie and Susie, but there have been many feline incumbents of Shannaburn over the years. It's a matter of great pride and comfort for us that we were able to support Mum in staying here in her adored home, which she was adamant that she never wanted to leave. She remained here safely during COVID, cared for in the first months by Alec, who had anticipated and commenced the lockdown at Shannaburn before the UK government got round to it. And it was during that time that it became clear she needed 24-hour presence, which we were very fortunate to be able to arrange for her. We, along with Anne, John, our dear late friend Tiffany, and latterly Jenny too, created a team that supported Mum. We feel very fortunate that although frail, she was in relatively good health, and that although she spent her last few days in hospital, the end came with little warning, quite quickly, and once they had it under control, with no pain. She left us on a night in February, when the snowdrops were at their height, and in her last journey, her coffin bore on top a bunch of Shannaburn snowdrops, picked and counted by Jane, 94, one for each year. She was surrounded in her last days by all the love and care that we could provide, and I know that our dad would be very pleased with how we looked after his beloved after his untimely departure. We love you, Mum. We miss you. Thank you for everything. And now I'm going to pass you over to Jenny, who's going to give us a reading from The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, poet, artist, philosopher, spiritualist.
Can you hear me okay? Do I need to put this up? You good? Okay. Then Al-Mitra spoke, saying, "We would ask now of death." And he said, "You would know the secret of death, but how shall you find it unless you seek it in the heart of life? The owl whose night-bound eyes are blind unto the day cannot unveil the mystery of light. If you would indeed behold the spirit of death, open your heart wide unto the body of life. For life and death are one, even as the river and the sea are one. In the depth of your hopes and desires lies your silent knowledge of the beyond. And like seeds, dreaming beneath the snow, your heart dreams of spring. Trust the dreams, for in them is hidden the gate to eternity. Your fear of death is but the trembling of the shepherd when he stands before the king, whose hand is to be laid upon him in honour. Is the shepherd not joyful beneath his trembling, that he shall wear the mark of the king? Yet is he not more mindful of his trembling? For what is it to die, but to stand naked in the wind, and to melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing, but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand, and seek God unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountain top, you shall begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim your limbs, then shall you truly dance. I'm going to pass you over now to George, our neighbour and close family friend, who'd like to say a few words.
Right. Hello, can you all hear me? Thank you. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you very much. And if I may so thank you, Mandy, for a heartfelt and wonderful tribute to your lovely mother. Well done. Hello, everybody. Some of you know who I am, some don't, but I'm George, and my wife, Maddie, live right through that wall behind you and have lived there for a long time. It must be 52 or 53 years now since we arrived ready to make our home at Shannaburn. We didn't know Bill and Fay at all, and what's more to the point, excuse me, they didn't know us, complete strangers, all of a sudden on their doorstep. And you might have expected a little bit of suspicion or resentment, but none of it, absolutely none of it. We received a warm and generous welcome from Bill and Fay. They were extremely kind in the way they brought us into the Shannaburn family. And that friendship, which began all that time ago, continued and grew throughout the time that we have lived here. Lucy, I think you were, what, six when we arrived. And not long after we arrived, our daughter Julie was born, and Lucy became mentor and big sister to Julie. And that is another friendship that developed way back then and has continued to date. So the friendship that we established when we first came here with Bill and Fay has transferred now to another generation. If ever you were to look for an example of true neighborliness, you would find it here. Never a sharp word ever in more than half a century. We have enjoyed and been really privileged to have lived next door to the Fullerton family, to have enjoyed both of them when they were both here, and the graciousness and friendliness of Fay, who was really very, very dear to our hearts. And she is sadly missed and will be much long remembered by Maggie and I. I think Nadine is going to be saying a few words. Thank you.
Excuse me, guys. I'm just going to give you a background of how I came to know Fay. Can you hear me? Oh, sorry. Just going to give background on how I came to know Fay and family. My father studied medicine in Aberdeen at the Aberdeen University. And while he was registrar, Bill was a consultant, and it was Bill who delivered me. The two became great friends, and during family trips back to Aberdeen, my dad always made a point of visiting Bill and Fay and Bill. In turn, Fay and Bill traveled to Freetown, Sierra Leone many years ago to visit my parents, where they were warmly welcomed. Their friendship remained strong over the years, and my dad always thought very highly of them. My journey with Fay began in the early 1980s when I came from Sierra Leone to UK as a teenager. I was originally heading for boarding school, but Bill and Fay lovingly instead insisted that I attended Lucy's school and live with them instead. It was a whole new world, a different culture, a different climate, and a different life. In Scotland at that time, there weren't many black faces, yet Fay and Bill welcomed me into their home and family with open arms. What could have been a difficult experience was instead filled only with kindness, acceptance. There was never a sense of difference, only love and belonging. That is something I will carry in my heart forever. When I think of Fay, the words that come to mind are warmth, kindness, and the many little ways in which she touched my life. I feel so blessed that I had the chance to see her again a few years ago with my daughter. It was the first time my daughter met her, and to my surprise, she cried upon seeing Fay. It was almost as if she could feel her spirit and gentle energy. That moment has stayed with me ever since. Fay always left an impression. She never forgot my birthday. There was always a card, often flowers, or maybe a check. To this day, I sometimes use flying flowers because of her, because she used to use them. Faye is the reason I grew to love vegetarian food, and she opened my eyes to animal welfare. She encouraged me to care about causes that I might never have noticed, and she inspired me with her generosity, especially how she gave her Thursday mornings to teach art to offenders. She often spoke to me about how much it meant to them, and that moved me deeply. And then there was her cooking. Her cheesecake was the best I've ever tasted, nothing else compared. She gave me the recipe, and one day soon I'll make it in her memory. Her celery soup was delicious, made me appreciate celery for the first time. And her toad in the hole, which I'd never had before, was unforgettable. Food with Faye was always so special, prepared with love. I remember Faye's love for flowers and her garden, and I remember some Sunday mornings spent mushroom picking with Faye. We'd come back, spread them across the kitchen table, and she'd get out some books to check that they were okay to eat before cooking them up for breakfast. Those were such happy times. And of course, her cats, at that time, she had Clover and Cleo, and she doted on them. During thunderstorms, I think it was Cleo that would dash under the beanbag, and Faye would fuss over him like a child. That was her nature, gentle, loving, and endlessly caring. Faye even supported me with my studies. I was preparing for my French hires, and she, with her love of French and her talent for it, patiently helped me work through a French novel. She gave me her time and encouragement, and that meant a lot. Lucy also, I have to mention, welcomed me, which I know must not have been easy for her, suddenly sharing her home, her parents, and her school. But because of them, and the family, the siblings, I never felt like an outsider. Looking back, my time with Faye may have only been a few years, but it feels like so many more years because of how deeply she touched my life. Faye was truly an exceptional woman, a beautiful soul, and I will never forget her. I just wanted to add a few words from my daughter and my brother. Um, they're not here today. Nadia met her for the first time, and she's just sent a message this morning saying, I only had the chance to meet Faye once, but I feel so grateful and fortunate that I did. From the moment I met her, I was moved to tears. And though I didn't fully understand why at the time, looking back, I believe it was because of all the beautiful memories my mom had shared about her and her kindness that she had shown to my mom. My mom truly felt her love, and in that moment, I felt it too. My brother Rodney says, I remember visiting Faye with mom and dad, Faye and Bill with mom and dad in the early 1980s. It was summer and we had lunch in the garden. Faye made the best dessert, a raspberry mousse. I have never had that again. Thank you.
Hi folks, I'm Jim. I'm Jane's partner. When we were planning this event, I said I think I would like to speak, and now having followed these people, I think I've got a little more I could add. I was so touched by the things that I've heard today, and from the written tributes that are inside it. It's well, Mandy and I were talking this morning and sort of saying it's good to know that other people felt the same about Faye that we did. It was a sort of universal thing. We were seeing some of the things that were there. So I'm probably just going to say things that have been said before. But to be honest, that's okay, because I don't think there are enough good words that can be said about Faye. We could talk forever, and I urge you to go do that. Talk to people. I talk to people about how important Faye was in your lives. I'm saying Mandy touched on the values that Faye exhibited, her love of animals, her love of the environment, her love of politics, humanity, diversity. All of these things made her such a fascinating person to be with, and it was always a pleasure to be with her. And the values that she had she shared with those around her, and the family members, the children, the grandchildren have grown into be such wonderful people because of the influence that she had upon them. We then sort of George spoke about how welcoming she was as a host, and I always remember how good it would. Faye would really fuss over you and do everything for you when you were here, and she couldn't do enough for you. And Nadine spoke about how someone who is a stranger can be welcomed into the family, and that's how I felt, and not to the extent that Nadine was, but I was a stranger who became part of the family. And to be honest, the thing that I could say about Faye is genuinely the most wonderful person I've ever met in my whole life. There is no other way to put it than that. And there was one thing that is but one thing that is uniquely my memory. I lost my mother when I was young, and there was a mum-shaped void in my life for a lot of it. And when I met Faye, I'd known her for a few years, and I said to her, Faye, could I just call you mum? And she says, of course you can. And she started changing the birthday cards that I sent, and it now said "Love from Mum." And to be honest, that absolutely filled me with such joy to be able to say that and to call her mum. And now, once again, I'm feeling a mum-shaped void. But that's okay, because I had the joy of knowing Fay, and she enriched my life, and that's something that I'll never forget. And one of the things that another thing to sum up Fay is, when you met Fay, you always left feeling better. She lifted people, she encouraged people, she supported people, she developed people. And if I can give you one thing away with you, do that. When you meet people, do what you would. Think, I'm talking to somebody, what would Fay do? And that to me is something that I would urge you all to take with you. So I won't continue repeating anything further. I will leave it at that. So the next thing that we're going to do is we will have a toast to Fay. So we'll have a brief break here to make sure that people go in and have something in their hand that they're able to toast with. So if you're able, pop in and get something, but there will be people coming around just to make sure that your glasses are charged. And to those who are watching from afar, I would say to you, I'm sorry, we don't have anything that we can give to you because you're too far away. But feel free to pop off, get yourself something, and come back and join us in 5 minutes or so.
If anybody's got a flute, take it down to get filled up again. Oh, right, okay. I don't know. Are they? Lindsay, you've got to go and bring it down. Right. No, I think it's it round. Is it round? I'm good.
No, I know it's great.
I know. Well done.
Right, I'm Douglas.
It's okay, I know you can help it. Come on and get something to drink. If you go to the bar, I'm just going to go down and get yourself a big glass of ice. We practiced it loads. Yeah, we practiced it loads.
Anything but joy.
I'm glad.
Share it as well.
So lovely. I'm so
That's good.
a little more.
Little eyes. Tiny hands.
Hello.
Yeah, come on, that's it.
And when I look back, that is such a standard. It's double eight, and you listen to John and Richard, mum and dad, No, I know, but I think he came to us. Yeah, maybe. I never had a friend visit my day. That is an honor.
What did you like a cider?
I'd like some coffee.
Lovely. I can't from that one, but here's some coming right now with George. Sure we can arrange a coffee.
Oh, did it?
And do you want to shift to Lovely? Sure.
I don't miss. I don't miss the colour. Yes, yes.
We have too little done.
I was just thinking that thing. Right, you can try. I will probably use it.
Just smiling on.
I must take a note of it because
Thank you.
you're very welcome. Did you watch that Christmas slide?
I love that you had to say Jim, exactly the same way. Entirely the same way.
You must have been a little girl at that point, yeah.
Like how she handled things, or what she'd say. Honestly, that went through my head when you said that. It's like totally, you're absolutely right. She's completely right about Get some t-shirts printed of that. Good idea. Yeah, no. Sales today. What's up?
Yeah, Alpine, there's an X there.
It makes really nice jam jelly. Really
I've got one. This is mine here. Maybe you hold it for me.
It's not
Yes.
You're still live. You're live to the
Wave. Hello.
I'm worth
Right, okay. I've got my glasses right here. No, but I know it. So it's Julie, Alpine, Crab, and I'll uncap that.
Nicely done. The lights are still the lights. Yeah, I'll use one of these. Do you know what? I asked Matt to bring my glass, but I didn't even tell him to put anything in it, so it would have just been an empty glass anyway. I think it might be worth running through it.
I'll keep an eye on
It's working for the video.
So yeah. That's what we did on Here's many at the party.
Okay, hello again, everybody. For purpose of continuity, I'm starting off the second half. So, if you could all just for the moment. If you watching at home, you don't like to be seated. You can do whatever you like. Okay, so Jane and Alec are going to bring us the toast. They are just appearing.
Oh, Jen. I'm so little. Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think we'll all agree that that was very moving and very wonderful tribute to a very special person. And it just falls to me and Alec now to end the formal part of our ceremony and time for everybody to raise a glass to the wonderful woman that was our beloved mother, Fay Fullerton.
Hurrah!
Hey! To Fay. This is what she wanted, by the way. She asked us to have a party. So we're having a party.
Alright, what can I say?
Yeah, come around this side. I don't think so. I think that's it. Cheers. Good point. Okay, folks, feel free now just to wander wherever you like in Mum's garden and her beautiful house and just have a chat to the assembled company. I know that's what I'm going to be doing and having lots of talks and memories about our wonderful mum.
Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you. Thank you, Mandy.
Oh, you did it. I forgot. You better go and do that.